hard. Our work is not to fix what seems broken, but rather to sense the wholeness in all creation. But see, that's the way we look at people who don't live like we do, who don't have maybe the security that we do, who don't have the advantages that we do. We want to fix them. But our job isn't that. Our job isn't to fix what looks like it's broken, but to sense the wholeness in all creation, to sense the wholeness in them. So today I have a special message today. This is a special message. You remember some of you were at the town hall meeting, right? The annual meeting. How many were there? A few people were there. Well, we had a raffle at the meeting, and the winner of the raffle got to have lunch with me and got to select a topic for a talk on Sunday. So my friend Ann Olson, she's over there in the corner, there she is. Ann and I had lunch, and Ann came prepared. She had thought about a few things, which I was glad. I was like, well, you get to choose. What do you want to hear about? And she had prepared, and we talked for a little while, and she mentioned a couple things. And I have to tell you, the title of this talk and the byline are all hers. And I put it together, but here it is. So the title is Potholes and Prodigals, How to Walk Serenely in the World When Others Are Not So Serene. Everybody's like, oh yeah, let me come to that one. How do I do that? What is that about? Well, I wasn't sure exactly. I always look up words in the dictionary because I want to be sure I understand what they mean. And so I had to look up the word prodigal to really make sure I understood what it is. And some of you know the story in the Bible of the prodigal son. But what prodigal means, and it's pretty well illustrated by that story, but what prodigal means is someone who is wasteful with their resources and their money, who squanders their money, squanders their life, who is wasteful about that. Do you know anybody like that? We're walking next to the person and we're just like, what are you doing, right? And potholes, I've made up a metaphysical interpretation of potholes. Hopefully this fits Anne. The idea of pothole is, you know what it is, of course, in asphalt paving. There's a lot of these in Wilmington. Up north there's even more because the freeze-thaw cycle just makes that asphalt pop right out of the roadways. And what happens, it gets filled with water and the cars hit it, and then they get harder and harder, and pretty soon somebody gets a flat tire. So I thought, wow, this is a great metaphor for those people who have so much drama in their lives. They do the same thing over and over, make poor choices, and they're forever hitting the potholes. So the idea today is, well, how do we walk serenely amongst people who are like that, and people we see outside of ourselves? How do we walk around serenely, like totally at peace and calm and centered like that? How do we do that when people around us are wasteful and wasting their lives, and we're looking at them or hitting that pothole over and over and over again? And usually, my friends, you have to look no further than your immediate family to know who that person is for you. Or your family of choice, wherever that is. You know who that person is, right? It's right there. But let me tell you, the first thing that came to mind when I started putting this lesson together is this reminder about that, which is this: my path is my path, and your path is your path. That's the truth. We know that intellectually all day long. Oh yeah, that's your path. But when we run into someone, especially when they're close to us and they're having these issues, they're a prodigal or a pothole, that's not how we feel. Well, to be grounded in serenity, to walk with serenity in life, we've got to give up our ideas of fixing that person. We've got to let that go. Because that's exactly what we want to do. We want to fix them. We want to make them better. In our hearts, that's what we want to do, right? And has it ever worked for you, by the way? Yeah, we still try to do that. That's another definition. It's called insanity, right? So maybe we're all guilty of that same thing. So that person's path is that person, and I have my own path. And after all, I'm thinking to myself, well, don't I have enough work to do on my own path? Like, why am I so intent on trying to influence somebody else's? You know, I have plenty to do right here on my own path. But we want so badly to believe that if this person, this prodigal or this pothole person, if this person could just take what I say, just listen to my advice, could just do just something a little bit different, a change, you know, things would be different. That pothole would dry up and be paved over. You know, they would not be having this, they would have security, financial security. That's what we want, that's what we think. If we just fix that. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. We wish they could see the error of their way. You know, I had a friend one time tell me this story. She came into contact with a homeless person. And I don't know how they got to have a connection. And she decided that the greatest gift that she could give this homeless person would be a place to live. And so she actually purchased a trailer in a trailer park. She purchased this for this person, and she was so excited because she thought, wow, this person's going to have a place to stay. And you know what that person did? That she didn't want that. That's not what she wanted at all. How arrogant we are sometimes. How completely arrogant we are to assume that we know what someone else's path needs to be for them. How crazy is that? It's because our heart hurts. It's because we're struggling in our heart. Because we see this struggle outside of ourselves and we only want to help. We have absolutely great intentions. We want to make it better. We think only if I could just give them more money, a place to stay, if I could just start a business for them, if I could just set them up for success, you know, that's what we want to do. God, we are so arrogant sometimes in that. How could we? How could we decide what someone else's path is when it's their path? Oh, look at your card. Look at the card. Our work is not to fix what seems broken, but rather to sense the wholeness in all creation. But see, that's the way we look at people who don't live like we do, who don't have maybe the security that we do, who don't have the advantages that we do. We want to fix them. But our job isn't that. Our job isn't to fix what looks like it's broken, but to sense the wholeness in all creation, to sense the wholeness in them, to see the divine in them, to see possibility in them, instead of seeing something that needs to be fixed. You know, we end up contributing to the vibration that we don't like looking at. That's what happens. It's not about the pothole or the prodigal. It's about our own spiritual work. It's about seeing something different. It's about seeing the divine. There's a great little song, and I'm going to sing again. Those of you who have been coming have heard me sing a little bit. But it goes like this. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Right? Open the eyes of my heart so I can see you over there. Not let my heart figure out how to fix you, but open up my heart so I can see you, so I can see the divine, so I can see the possibility for you in your life, and to know that's your path and to respect that. Yeah. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart, my heart, my heart. You know, there's another phrase that you're all familiar with, or many of you are, those in 12-step for sure, that goes, God grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For this talk, we could say, God grant me the serenity to accept what I cannot fix, the courage to fix what I can. And when we say that, we should have a mirror, because that's what you can fix. Whatever's in that mirror, that's the extent of what you can fix. And the wisdom to know the difference. That's really what it's about. We need to get away from this idea of fixing. And really what I'm talking about is this idea of the humility of acceptance. The humility of acceptance. Regardless of our great intentions, and we have those. That's why our heart hurts, when we see someone who's struggling, who's hitting the same pothole, who we feel is wasting their life, our heart hurts for them. And even if we have the good intentions, what our work is to practice the humility of acceptance, of accepting them exactly the way they are, to be humble, to not be arrogant or proud, to elevate ourselves up above, but to be humble, to be humble. We have to be humble, we have to be willing to admit that we don't know the answers to everything. We have to be willing to admit that maybe there's a divine plan or maybe there's not. We have to be able to admit that we can't figure out and know the reason for everything or the whys of everything. We don't know. We don't know, but it's not our job to know. Our job is to accept. Our work is to accept as a spiritual being, is to accept what it is. Not to figure it out and know, and not to fix, but to accept. Humility is the first step toward serenity. Humility is the first step toward serenity. That's what it is. You know, what we need to do in humility is we need to get off of our high horses. And some of us are really high up there. Some of us need a big old ladder to get down off of that horse. We need to get down off of that horse and get down on the ground, because we walk in serenity on the ground, connected to the earth. We don't do it in the air. We need to get down on the ground and look at each other in the face and in the eye and realize that we're all the same. We're all here doing the same thing. We're all here trying to figure it out. We're all here trying to be the best and do the best we can be. We're all here with our baggage and our struggles and our crosses to bear and our burdens to overcome. We're all here doing the same thing. That's being humble. That's getting down off of that horse. Getting out of our arrogance, getting out of our judgment. Because when we're up there, we cannot be serene up here. There's always the fear of falling off, for one, when we're way up on our horse. We can do a face plant. My sister just did a face plant. She wasn't on a horse. It hurts. It hurts to trip over your feet, right? But when you're up there, that's what happens. Because we're arrogant when we're up there. We're rude. We're judgmental when we're up there. We need to come down here, right in each other, and look at each other, and realize this, that we're all here to help each other. You know how? This is my quote. Everything and everyone is available for your awakening. Everyone and everything is available for my awakening. My awakening. Every situation, every prodigal, every pothole, every difficult situation, it's available for me, for my awakening. For me to wake up, for me to transcend, for me to become an evolved spiritual self. And then we can look at that person who we have labeled a prodigal, who we have labeled a pothole, who we have seen as less than from our high horse, and we can realize that that's a gift to me. That's a gift to me. It's hard sometimes to recognize that, but it's the truth. If we open the eyes of my heart, Lord, open the eyes of my heart, to see from there, to see from the heart, to allow the breath of God to come through us. You see, it changes our perspective, to bring us to this sense of ease and serene, to be calm and peaceful. Are you hearing that? This was a great lesson for me, Anne. Thank you for bringing this. You know, I was feeling myself in a lot of these words. What it really means when we're willing to get down there, to get down off that horse, is to say this: I see you, beloved, and we are one. I see you, beloved, in your struggle. I see you, and we're the same. We're one with each other. There's not a difference between me and you. I could have, I think, described this whole lesson in this next quote I'm going to give you, and you wouldn't have had to listen to all this. But I did it anyway and saved to the end. It's a quote from a book from Michael Singer called The Untethered Soul, and it's this. And I think this lesson explains this quote, which is, everything will be okay when I'm okay with everything. You know, everything will be okay. I will be serene and at peace when I am in humble acceptance of what life is and what life looks like this. It doesn't mean we're not helpful. It doesn't mean we walk away. It means that in our kindness and in our love, we accept where each other is on this path. And I'll be okay when I know that it is okay, that this is life. So how to walk serenely among the potholes and prodigals? I hope you remember, climb down off your horse. It might not be just a little step for some of us, but climb down off your horse. Recognize the gift in every single path that you're walking, that the person is walking with you. Recognize the gift, seeing that it is there for my own awakening. And when I do, when I see with the eyes of my heart, I see the divine itself just like peeking around the corner. If I can just see it peeking around the corner, if I can just begin to notice the godness in all of it, that is the greatest gift. That is really the work of the heart, by the way. That is really the work of the heart. The work of the heart is not to fix. The work of the heart is to see the divine in all there is. So thank you, Anne, for inspiring this work, this message today. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. So thank you. So let's prepare for meditation then, with these ideas in mind. And maybe it's simply the words from the song that say, "Open the eyes of my heart. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. I want to see you. I want to see you in everyone and everything peeking from behind the pothole and the prodigal." So take a deep breath in and let it out. Be serene. Be at ease. Open up that space. And our prayer can be simply, open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. willing to know themselves, to face themselves with honesty and work toward loving themselves and all beings without condition, is a hero who is adding to the collective peace of humanity.